Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 triumphantly touts vibrant visuals, a diverse, mechanically dense roster, smooth online play, and a ton of Nickelodeon charm. In applying the Smash Bros. Formula, NASB 2 capitalizes on the personality of their Nicktoons, with nostalgic, original voice acting and animations ripped directly from the source material and artfully recontextualized into a fighting game. Now sure, it still lags behind Smash Bros. In terms of overall polished scope and at times readability, but what Fair Play Labs has created here should not be ignored, because Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 is a compulsively fun entry in the platform fighting genre. Casual fans will have plenty of fun seeing their favorite Nicktoons well realized, and fighting game veterans may be surprised to see how much creativity and depth is bubbling just underneath the surface.
I agree, Gary. I can do it. We can do it. Meow, meow.
Nick Brawl 2 features 25 characters at launch, consisting of 14 veterans and 11 newcomers, though the veterans from the first game have been so dramatically reworked to the point that they can feel as new as the newcomers. From SpongeBob to Jimmy Neutron and Grandma Gertie to El Tigre, the roster represents a triumph of diversity in terms of inclusion, but also diversity of gameplay mechanics. In the first game, I kind of felt like jump cancel strings were too powerful across the board. So no matter whom you were playing as, your strategy was more or less the same, jumping around with cracked movement and spamming the most effective moves. It was extremely input heavy and tough on the thumbs, but in NASB 2, everything's a little slower, more deliberate. Characters like Azula and Danny still will be schmoving across the stage and overwhelming opponents with agility, but then there's like Reptar, who is slow but so strong that even shielded opponents are pushed back when hit. Many characters come equipped with advanced mechanics and playstyles as well. The Angry Beavers call each other in for assists, Ember's moves build up a meter that can augment her abilities, and Zim can puppet Gur across the battlefield. Now speaking of Zim, he has this full screen anti-air that I'm obsessed with. Look at how crazy this is. And every character here has this kind of stuff going on that feels unique and drew me to imagine how I could use their tools most effectively. Voice acting goes a long way in making the game feel alive, and I think the degree to which you're hearing these recognizable, oftentimes nostalgic voices and lines is a major factor in this title differentiating its identity from Smash Bros.
Now there's something you don't see every day.
Good thing, too, because that'd make every day super scary.
NASB 2 really leans into the fact that these are cartoon characters, and their voices are inexorably tied to their identities. The flip side of this, though, is that many animations, by virtue of not having been designed for a video game and instead are ripped directly from cartoons, can occasionally be harder to parse than what you are getting in Smash. What exactly is the hitbox on Patrick wrestling a coat rack, and does it read, really, as an up strong attack? The more you play, the less of an issue this is, but it is just hard to compete with how profoundly readable the Smash Bros. Franchise has always been.
I'm up! I'm up!
Now, outside of typical platform fighting fare that revolves around using attacks and special attacks to knock enemies off the battlefield, NASB 2 introduces a slime meter that can be built up by landing or taking attacks. You can use variable amounts of meter to make attacks stronger, augment your specials with more effects, alter your movement, or build the meter up to max to activate a super move with devastating strength and knockback.
Time to use the avatar state.
What the slime meter achieves is that it implies every character has an answer to any situation. If you don't have a strong knockout move, add slime to a heavy attack for extra oomph. If you don't have a good recovery, use slime with your up special to soar much higher than before. This helps everyone on the roster feel viable while staying true to their unique characteristics. There's also slime canceling, which can be used to chain moves together that could normally never be paired. This is an excellent avenue for player expression, and what it does is it takes like these long combos that you see professionals do, and it makes them within reach of your average player. All you have to do is press the slime button and execute the move. But my favorite way to use slime has to be this like get out of jail free card. Imagine this, you and your opponent, you're on your last stocks, but you get hit with a game-ending attack with huge knockback, and it sends you flying across the screen. Well, you use 2 bars of slime to completely halt your momentum in the air, allowing you to recover on stage and give you a chance to continue the fight. It ends up feeling like this massive reverse Uno card, and the slime mechanic as a whole feels super unique in the platform fighting space. My one complaint with slime is that the Final Smash-like super attacks are one of the jankiest elements in the whole game. My experience activating a super was inconsistent. Sometimes it would come out and sometimes it wouldn't, and I wasn't really sure why. Further, it was always unclear how the super was going to hit, which direction my opponent would be flung, and every super is kind of the same. It manifests like a short cinematic cutscene, and while these are cute and help highlight the individual characters, they take you away from the fight in a way that I found jarring. Now, it's not enough to devastatingly impact my experience, and these attacks are a fun way for more casual audiences to take advantage of slime, but when I see other fighting games move away from these kind of drawn-out cutscene super attacks, it's hard not to question their appearance here.
What's with these guys keeping me away from food and sleep? Nice.
There are 26 stages in Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, and each is successful at capturing their respective show's style while mixing up the layouts in creative ways. For the more competitively inclined players, there are variations of the stages that can feature 3 floating platforms, 2 platforms, 1 platform that moves, or no platforms at all on a flat stage. The soundtrack, for my taste, is really fun and upbeat too, and no single track is as criminally offensive as Glove World was in the first game. Awful. In terms of game modes, you of course have access to local and online play for up to 4 players. There's an arcade mode with variable difficulty settings that takes you through a ladder of fights and minigames, challenging you to beat the mode as fast as you can. But the real star here is the campaign. Here you're on a quest to stop the evil Vlad Plasmius from destroying the universe. There's a delightfully surprising amount of charm on display here. Characters are fully voiced and you're treated to some fun interactions depending on whom you're playing as. It's a really cohesive package that helps make this mashup of worlds and characters feel more purposeful and tangible than it would be just seeing them fight each other on stage for no reason other than it's a video game.
What if a woodchuck's name was Chuck? What then? Huh?
Patrick, are you okay?
My brain!
The campaign is presented in a roguelite structure, and that helps differentiate it from other modes of play. As you progress through fights, you earn different currencies that you spend with different NPCs you encounter. It's a genuine delight to be smashing through battles only to land in Bikini Bottom and talk to Mrs. Puff about being a good noodle before choosing a perk that will alter my gameplay. Some of these perks make you faster, stronger, one makes a rocket fly out of your body and into opponents, but my favorite perk I encountered had to be one that awarded me brief intangibility after landing an aerial attack. It completely changed up how I approached fights and especially boss battles in a way that felt rewarding and revelatory, like I was beating the system. Now, speaking of those boss battles, another strong addition to the game, but you see almost all of them very quickly and in such short succession that the novelty does run out quick. I wish there were a few more, or they were capable of mixing up their strategies more often to keep things fresh. Still, it's pretty awesome to face off against a super-powered shredder on a New York City rooftop.
Our battle is not over yet, not by a long shot.
Now that we're done, wouldn't you like a nice Krabby Patty?
I have 2 prominent criticisms of the campaign mode. First, there just needs to be more perks. After only a few runs, I felt like I kinda had seen it all, and the joy of any roguelite is in that constant refreshing and remixing of a solid core experience. It's still fun, mind you, but it becomes extremely easy to just go after the best build, and runs start to blend together the more you play. Second, the primary unlock while playing the campaign mode are these skins that might be the worst alts I have ever seen in a fighting game. Truly hideous. You have one for every character that's just them covered in goop, and another where they have this sparkly trail. If I could activate a setting to remove these from my game so I never accidentally select them, I would. And the weird thing is that this game has trophies, gallery images, online profile, cosmetics, this kind of stuff, but it's not dangled in front of the player in a tangible way. Like, I want to unlock the SpongeGar icon, but I don't know how. The experience of just playing the game and every so often getting a pop-up that I randomly unlocked something is the furthest thing from a meaningful experience, and I think it could have been much better integrated in the game. Now, any fighting game fan knows you need a good practice mode, but the tutorials and dojo in NASB 2 are only adequate if not a little sparse. The most advanced mechanics in the game are presented only via text in the tutorial, with no option to try out the majority of slime maneuvers yourself. Worse, there are no character-specific tutorials, something I didn't think was necessary until I started playing as some of those big-brain characters like Jimmy Neutron and Zim. There are some mechanics that I truly can't believe they expect people to figure out on their own. And since NASB 2 veers more into traditional fighting game mechanics than other platform fighters, I think character-specific tutorials, a mainstay in most fighting game franchises, really should be here. To speak on online play, during the review period I was able to extensively test out online environments on PC and PS5. I played one-on-one matches, 3-player, 4-player matches. NASB 2 supports cross-play across all platforms at launch too, so I even played on PS5 while opponents were on PC. And no matter what scenario I was in, I had virtually no complaints when it came to the game's netcode and how it felt to play online. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 felt exactly the same in my hand playing offline as it did on. And in this regard, it totally outshines Smash Ultimate's online functionality, which can feel like you're playing a completely separate game. In Nick Brawl 2, it took me no time to set up or join a lobby, pick a stage, pick a character, and head into a fight. I didn't perceive any lag or latency when it came to my inputs, and the more I was able to play online, the more I realized how critically important it is for a contemporary fighting game. Online is where my personal fun hit its peak. Without exchanging any words, my opponent and I would teach each other strategies and tactics just by executing them against each other online. And this is only possible because Fair Play Labs has built an incredibly solid foundation under which Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 that will allow it to endlessly thrive when handed off to its players. With all of this said, I should clarify that I was only able to test online during the review period when a small amount of people were playing, so the situation could falter when the game is widely available. Second, if you're somebody that wants to be like filling up a bar or getting unlocks or participating in more specific online modes outside of ranked and casual, there is not a lot here. The fun is just in playing the actual game, and luckily it's really fun. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 does what a competent platform fighter should. The game's visual design is clean, the gameplay mechanics are deep and expressive, and most importantly, it's fun to play and even more fun to dig into and master. I thought I liked Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 a lot, but after playing online and seeing the range of options and abilities available to every character on the roster and being exposed to some truly competitive matches, I understand how much Fair Play Labs has invested in the fighting game mechanics, and it's clear to me that I love Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, as I eagerly anticipate its wide release and the many new opponents that will bring to the arena. Now, thank you everybody for watching our review of Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2. Let me know if you have any questions about the game in the comments below, and stay tuned for more coverage on this wacky platform fighter.